Are there constructive things that you can do to help restore a culture of life? Find out next on this edition of Life Matters. Our host, Brian Johnston, has been a teacher at every academic level, from adult education and junior college down through high school, junior high, and even 5th and 6th grade. As is so often the case with teachers, he has also coached. Many on the California pro-life team call him the Life Coach. Today, you'll find out why on Life Matters. And now here's our host, Brian Johnston.
Welcome back to Life Matters. We're your program on the right to life, on the culture that's emanated from that statement. Yes, that idea is a unique statement of purpose for government, and it defines the relationship between human beings and government. Our founders asserted that at the founding of this nation, but it's something that has been expressed as one of the desires of mankind throughout human history, and especially through Western civilization. The right to life, incredibly important. It's a self-evident truth, is what America's founders said. So our program focuses on that idea. What does it mean? Why does it matter? And we focus on the battle of ideas that's now raging to get us to forget it. Our culture wants us to dismiss the right to life and the value of each and every human being. We don't want that to happen. That would violate some self-evident truths. That would really mess up our culture and our society. And friends, we have a responsibility to address it. So, welcome back. Today's program is a program that's dedicated to a challenge that came in the spring of 2020, probably the most extraordinary moment that I've lived through in terms of our society, and you too. This is an incredible assault on human beings by a virus. And this virus is incredibly infectious. It's easily spread. Now we know that millions have died from the flu virus, even in the 20th century. Literally millions died from that bug, which is a slang term for this virus, a bug. And there's things that can be done to slow down the rate of infection. There's things to address our own health in dealing with this. But this is a serious phenomenon, and those who have gone through what happened in the spring of 2020 realize that. We're going to spend some time today talking about what you can do to protect yourself and to protect your loved ones. But also, after this passes, these are things that should be done and we should be aware of. So I'm going to share some ideas. As you already know, I've been around this issue for a while. I've been around the issue of aging. We know that it's really the senior community as your autoimmune system begins to slow down. It's the elderly that are at greatest risk, and then other immunocompromised individuals. Those are the folks who actually tend to die from this virus and many viruses that are similar. So we're going to talk about that and what you can do to prepare your immune system for this challenge. But most importantly on this program, we know that every human life has intrinsic value and worth, and we tend to think of that in terms of the broader concept. But in fact, it also applies to you. Your life has value. We want your life to be valuable and appreciated. We want you to be available. We need you around. We need you to be an advocate for others as well, for those in your family, and for the community at large, and ultimately what the right to life is about. It's a statement that every human life has value. And we need you to be healthy and involved and educated and informed so that when the laws, God forbid, but they have, when the laws are turned against vulnerable human beings, as in the case of human abortions, as in the case of euthanasia, you are going to have to stand up and say, wait a second, that's an unjust law. So ultimately, your life has value, and that's incredibly important. We're going to spend time in this particular Life Matters program equipping you to stay healthy, equipping you to understand that you have a responsibility to stay healthy. If you happen to be a Christian, you know that you have a duty because your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. And sometimes we get carried away, and sometimes people don't fully understand that. We're going to spend time, in fact, dealing with staying healthy and keeping other people healthy. Ultimately, it's because human life has value. And ultimately, as an advocate for life, we want you to stay around for a while. We're all going to die. But in the meantime, we can live well, and we can use our lives for good. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some very practical and down-to-earth things that you can encourage in yourself, in your own pattern of living, but also in the lives of others as we confront situations like the coronavirus threat of 2020.
Life Matters continues after this.
You know about our car donation program at California Pro-Life. We use one of the most respected programs in the nation. Go to the California Pro-Life page, californiaprolife.org. Scroll to the bottom and click on Donate My Car. It's that easy. Did you know you can also donate any vehicle, boat, motorhome, or even personal property? If you are nearing retirement age, you can also get a tax deduction by earmarking a portion of your upcoming compulsory distributions from your 401k. Just email us for information. California Pro-Life is fighting to equip California pro-lifers with understanding and the tools to again protect the unborn and other vulnerable innocents. Thank you for your help in this battle. Go to californiaprolife.org. That's californiaprolife.org for more information.
And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
Welcome back to Life Matters. As I was saying before the break, we're actually looking at a very unique moment in history in the spring of 2020, but it provides a challenge that we can rise to and that we can look towards in the future. The way we protect our own lives and the lives of others is not only through the law, but it's through our own behavior. I'm going to spend some time today, and I'm speaking now as an individual. Many of you know, however, that I focused on this as a Commissioner on Aging for California back in the 90s, and also on the Board of Examiners of California's nursing homes, and in many other capacities. I've been focused on the value of the human person, each and every human life, the significance of each and every human life. And this is an important premise for our entire society. I believe it's the premise for all human society. If you think about it, all societies have assigned individuals to protect the lives of others, and in different ways. In terms of health, that's of course the physician, but in terms of government, we all have a responsibility to obey the powers that be, and specifically a policeman who is empowered by the government to protect the lives of the vulnerable innocent and to stop miscreants. That's a person that would take a life. And a policeman is given a gun and a badge, is given authority to intervene to protect those that cannot protect themselves. So the premise of the right to life is really very important. It's a premise that, if lost, turns society upside down. And we have seen that in America. We have seen that with the acceptance of human abortion for any reason or no reason in particular. That has led to a confusion of ideas about what it means to be a human being and what it means to regard the lives of other human beings. This is an important issue. By the way, a lot of people think this is a religious issue. Do you know that it's not? That actually this is a self-evident truth. This is an obvious thing, is what our founders said, that in every society, this is obvious. The innocent have to be protected. Otherwise, you're going to have a confused cacophony of people doing whatever they want and harming others, and that can't happen. So this is a self-evident truth. Now, if your faith concurs with the right to life, I believe that's a credit to your faith. It means that your faith is rooted in some deeper sense of understanding reality. So that's important. But this isn't about your faith or my faith. This is about a much deeper issue. How do we live? And should we protect other lives? And by all means, we should. So we focus on the right to life in this program, but we also focus on a deeper understanding of what the right to life is. I'm going to spend a little time right now personally talking about my experiences as a commissioner on aging and my own studies regarding being healthy as you age. I'm aging, and so are you, in fact. You don't like the alternative because that means your life is going to stop. So when I was relatively young, I realized that I'm going to get older and I want to understand it. And I want to be capable to help others as they address it. And so I'm going to offer some advice now. This is my own personal advice. I'll be perfectly honest. It comes from my experience, and I'm very open. If you have some insights, I want to hear from them. This isn't a health program. That's not what this is about typically. But we're going to touch on aspects of our own physical health. We could go on for years, and there are programs. That's all I talk about, is your health and proper nutrition. And that's a good thing. So I will talk about that. But it's in light of, right now, probably the greatest threat that our nation has ever seen, and that's the coronavirus. It may be a greater threat than the incredibly deadly Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, which killed millions around the world and here in the U.S. So it's a pretty serious thing, and we want to make sure that we preserve life and protect life as much as possible. So do obey the authorities when it comes to what they want you to do, and that is, of course, keeping a distance from others who might be infected, washing your hands, making sure that surfaces are clean and they are not spreading this virus. This is apparently a very, very contagious virus, much more contagious than even the flu. So do follow the guidelines of your federal, state, and local government because they're designed to help you. In fact, that's the reason government comes into existence, is to protect lives. So you know that because you listen to us here in Life Matters. So do listen to your government when it comes to these issues of protecting life. I'm going to share a couple of practical things right now that you should be aware of. These are the kind of things that either your mom told you or should have told you or your doctor. These are not outlandish things, and I just want to give you some practical insights. Do continue, even though many people have been in lockdown in the spring of 2020. That's how really we stopped the greater spread of the coronavirus, if you're listening to this later, is by being away from the risk of infection. But sometimes you're going to have cabin fever. So do get out. When you go out, again, follow the guidelines that have been set by your community, but get some exercise. Having a healthy body means you got to use it or lose it. There's a lot of things you can do that are very, very limited. You don't have to run a marathon. In fact, those of you who study exercise and ergonomics, you can get some very healthy exercise in the space of a jail cell. And if you look at folks that have been in jail, that's all they have time for. It gets pretty boring. And so you can actually do a lot of exercises right there in a very, very small space, right in your own home, in your own backyard. And the reason I mention your backyard is an aspect of health is sunlight. And there's several reasons for that. The natural sunlight, you need some. You need to get it going. It produces vitamin D, which is a very powerful vitamin and actually helps our immune system. You need that natural vitamin D. So get out in the sun. Make sure you're getting out. You're getting exercises. I could go on and on. I have a favorite exercise. You may not believe it, but it's really beneficial. You got to be warmed up. You got to be healthy enough for it. But if you run around like a kid, that's when you're healthiest, and there have been studies on the best form of exercise. You probably know that HIIT's, high-intensity training system. And what I like to do is actually wind sprints. I don't do a lot of them, but I do a few, and they say that that's the best thing for you. You can get a lot of benefits because it gets your heart pumping. But again, you want to do it wisely. You want to be ready for that. Do talk to other advisors if you haven't done any exercise. You got to work up to that. But what it does, it gets your heart pumping. It gets oxygen throughout your whole system. And you need to have that going. Stay hydrated. Drink plenty of fluids. Very, very important. These are practical things. And obviously, the benefit of vitamin D is immediate, but there's other benefits of the sun. It actually makes you feel better. It enhances your mood. It brings on serotonin and some of those good vibes you get from having been out in the sun. It balances your hormones. So it's important to note that getting vitamin D from the sun and from your own system is actually better, studies have shown, much better than simply taking a supplement. By the way, I do take supplements. I want to recommend you study supplementing your diet because the average American diet just doesn't get the proper nutrients to us. So make sure that you're taking your vitamins and the proper supplements. Some are better than others. Do look into it. You need to be, as I've encouraged you to before, I've encouraged you to be a scientist. We are alive, and part of life is learning new things, and science is about learning. Don't be afraid of science. Do look into these issues. Don't just take my word for it, but you need to have supplements, and you need to do the right thing. And getting out and about, very, very important. So on that topic, make sure you get out, get sunshine and fresh air. You don't have to be around people to do that. You can go out and in the open and stay the proper distance so you, again, are not risking infection of yourself or others. There seems to be some indication, too, that warm weather, it's north of the 30th parallel that most of these flus take place. And so there's some indication that warmer weather and sunshine has some impact on many of these viruses. Okay, switching gears quickly, your immune system is very important and the immune system of your loved ones. So again, look into some of the supplements that are available. I'm not going to give you the whole list. I'm not selling any products here. I just want to sell you on the idea of staying healthy and protecting human lives. And start with your own. So there's a lot of supplements out there. I take various supplements and do the research on it. Make sure you're boosting your immune system. You've heard a lot about the type of food you eat, the phytonutrients. Many of the best immunobuilding foods are foods that are dark in color, black elderberries and blackberries. You can do some research and you'll see that beets, very good for you. Lots of phytonutrients are absolutely necessary. And you'll find, too, I found this, that many herbs that I had taken for granted that I thought were just for flavoring, many of those herbs have very powerful antioxidant and immunity building to them. You know about garlic. You know about oregano. Do look into oregano oil. It's very interesting if you do some of these studies. And there's other that are somewhat exotic at first to our sense of diet. But if you look at the Mediterranean diet, those types of foods are included. Fresh foods that are immunity-building foods are a big part of the Mediterranean diet. And many people have recognized that our diet has a dramatic impact on our health. That's almost beyond debate. So look at the food you're eating, look at your exercise pattern, make sure you're getting out and getting some sun, and make sure that your family members are too. You're going to feel better. That's the first thing. You're going to feel a lot better. But it's not just the good vibes and the serotonin levels and the endorphins that you're after. It's actually building up your body's immune system and it's protecting you. So make sure you're doing that, getting the exercise. When we come back, I'm going to have a few very common sense answers that have come up, and I'm going to talk about some of the science that has been directed towards curing. Whether it is curative, we're going to find out, but I am going to talk about some of the studies on this particular virus and things we can learn from the studies. So we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Life Matters.
You know that we want to equip you for the battle of ideas. Right to Life University and the School of Life is an online institution which provides listeners and viewers the most reputable of curriculum materials drawn from the most respected and knowledge-based organizations in the movement, the National Right to Life Committee and its various affiliates. Get equipped. You can go online to schooloflife.us. That's schooloflife.us.
Did you know that California has a law in the books that says you need to protect babies born alive in the course of an abortion? But that law is simply ignored. We need to shine a light on this cover-up of the abortion industry in our state. Go to californiaprolife.org and click on the Light of Day Project. We need the facts about late-term abortion to be examined and made known. We need the government doing its job to protect lives. We need the light of day on this.
And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
Hey, again, I want to remind you what we're talking about. I'm just giving you my personal opinion on these things, but I've been around this a lot. If you want to stay healthy, do go out and get exercise, regardless of whether or not we're fighting viruses. Get exercise. And if you feel that you're not an exercise type person, start slowly, but start pushing yourself a little bit. And again, you can do this in very small spaces over history. Throughout history, people that have been in lockup, they still stay healthy and exercise. Some of the hardest exercises you want to do, go and talk to an exercise guru. Try doing burpees sometime. And what burpees are is you do a push-up, you jump up in the air, you go back down, you do another push-up, you jump up in the air. You do 30 burpees sometime, and you can do that in 3 square feet. And that'll really work out your metabolism and your system, get your heart pumping, but work up to that. So, if you haven't, do 10 push-ups and then do 20 push-ups and build up your regimen so that you have a personal regimen of exercise. I want to remind you, when it comes to the coronavirus and many of the viruses that attack the human body, if you're overweight, your odds go way up that this is going to hurt you. So good to lose weight. Just keep exercising. We all have to fight the fight. So you're not alone. But do fight your own weight. Fight for your own health. Very, very important. I want to spend just a little time right now talking about some of the promises that have been put forward regarding coronavirus. I think it's very interesting. There were studies in France that were done in March, and they seem to be very successful. And now the particular cure, and again, whether it's a cure or not, that remains to be seen, but it has had some demonstrable effects. And that is a particular malarial drug called chloroquine. And that's derived from, if you remember, quinine, and quinine water was early on when malaria was a big issue. And that's a derivative, I believe, of willow bark. But quinine was used to deal with malaria. Chloroquine was developed, and then fluorochloroquine. And there's various aspects of it. But the interesting thing is that it had a very dramatic impact on the coronavirus in the test in France and is being used in New York now and in other places. I looked into this, and something that I found very interesting is that its process of addressing antiviral issues. Before this, it was used to fight viruses, before this particular coronavirus. But it's a very different process than the way it addresses malaria. Because of malaria, it comes from mosquitoes, and they lay certain eggs, and they are inside your blood cells, and it has to address the growth of that particular malarial insect, literally, growing. But this is different with the virus. The way it attacks the virus is it allows, of all things, zinc ions to get through the cellular walls, and that is what fights the virus. That zinc itself has an impact on this virus. And the reason that's significant to me, personally speaking, is I use zinc all the time, particularly when I'm attacked by another virus. That is a coronavirus, and that's the common cold. You know that the common cold is a form of coronavirus, and it's been proven in many studies that use of zinc actually impacts the cold and will drive the incidence of a cold way down. There's many products in the market. I personally, if I feel the hint of a cold, I will use a swab. And the reason I think the swab of zinc is effective is it goes right into your mucous system. And that's where a lot of this battle takes place. And so zinc, for some reason, it's been demonstrated it has a dramatic impact on the cold virus. That is a virus. It's a coronavirus. Now, am I saying zinc is the cure for the coronavirus? I don't know. I know that it will impact the cold virus, and that's been demonstrated. That's not just my opinion. That's been demonstrated. So that's something to consider, is using zinc. Use other supplements. Stay healthy. Critically important that you stay healthy. The healthier you are, the better your odds in fighting not only the coronavirus, but any virus that may come along. It also is going to lengthen your life, and that's because your life is valuable. We want you to be vibrant well into old age. You know what they say about 60? It's the new 40, and they're going to be saying that about 80. 80 will be the new 50. We can be very, very vibrant into our old age. As I said, I'm former commissioner on aging, spent a lot of time around this. For my own benefit, I've studied it. And I want to recommend that you prepare yourself for the future, stay healthy, use common sense. When it comes to fighting an epidemic, do what the authorities are suggesting. But on the personal level, make sure you're doing the right thing personally and with your loved ones. If you're a smoker, please stop smoking. Great risk, particularly from illnesses like the coronavirus that impact your lungs. If you have diabetes, make sure you're addressing that. If you need help with that, do more research, talk to your doctor, but make sure that it's really people that are compromised, immunocompromised, and obviously diabetes leads to that. Do address your health personally in all the practical ways that you've heard from your mom. Listen to your mother. Eat properly. My mom probably saved our lives. She made us eat fruit or vegetables every day. She would nearly force it on us, but she would get pretty adamant that we need to have fresh fruit and vegetables. Very, very important. So you should remember that. That's an important thing. Hey, chicken soup, the old Jewish mother's recipe, very important. My mother was not Jewish, she was Irish, but she made chicken soup a lot. A lot of things to be said about that. We've talked about some of the nutrients that we don't get in the typical Western diet, but when you use the whole chicken and not just the meat, you get a lot of nutrients that otherwise we don't get. So chicken soup is a great thing. I do like the idea of zinc. I use it regularly for the common cold. Make sure that you're getting your supplements in every way, shape, and form. Make sure you're exercising, getting sun, and make sure you're ready to be of service to others, because lives matter.
If you have questions or comments for Life Matters, call 800-924-2490. Give us your name and the town you're calling from, and a quick question or comment. Learn more about everything in today's show online at lifematters.life, where you'll find all the resources you need to protect life. Life Matters is a production of the California Pro-Life Council, the state affiliate of National Right to Life. Wherever you are in the nation, you can find out more at National Right to Life. You can find vital pro-life information and also find the access to your state and local Right to Life affiliate. Get informed and get involved.